So once again, we're not going to take out too much today. I want for this opportunity to welcome everybody and for telling us this is not a town hall meeting. We will allow everybody to ask questions after Dr. Kaifala Marah is making presentation. We now all go enjoy the presentation, I assure you, because I have reasons to believe so. But before we do so, I will invite Dr. Marah, the other Marah, for to introduce his brother, Dr. Kaifala Marah. Marah, it is your right now to come and introduce your brother. Is he here?
L'élément. L'élément. L'élément petit fond donc small.
Good evening all. Esteemed and revered guests, respected comrades, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I respectfully stand on this podium this evening to perform a significant and profound task. To introduce the keynote speaker of this event, Dr. Kaifala Marah, who in a few minutes will talk us through a theme titled "A Nation at the Crossroads, Charting Sierra Leone's Path to Prosperity." Thank you. Once a political pundit and a social commentator ascertained, and I quote, "In a time when our people struggle to believe in tomorrow, Dr. Kaifala Marah offers more than promises. He offers a proven record, a vision rooted in service, and the courage to lead us towards a future we can finally see, feel, and live. To contextualize this in a more political, philosophical terms, I would say it is a political pragmatism and tangibility. Dr. Kaifala Marah is a seasoned public finance and governance expert with over 2 decades of experience in economic movement, management, international diplomacy, governance reforms, strategic leadership. His career spans high-level positions both in Sierra Leone and globally as well, with a consistent focus on fiscal responsibility, institutional transformation, and nation building. Dr. Kaifala Marah served as Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation between 2017 and 2018, leading Sierra Leone's global diplomatic and developmental agenda, and chaired the African Union Committee of Ministers on Security Council Reform. Prior to this, Dr. Kaifala Marah was governor of the Bank of Sierra Leone between 2016 and 2017, where he implemented key monetary policies to stabilize the national currency, lower inflation, and promote financial sector reform. He also chaired the Committee of Governors of the West African Monitoring Zone, commonly called WAMZ. As Minister of Finance and Economic Development, an office he held between 2012 and 2016, he led implementation of the Agenda for Prosperity, a national development blueprint. Under his leadership, Sierra Leone saw improved budget discipline, strategic economic reforms, and global recognition. He also served as chair of the G7+, that is an association of finance ministers from fragile states, and co-chaired the International Dialogue on Peace and State Building. He was a member of the World Bank Advisory Council on Gender Affairs between 2013 and 2015. Earlier on, Dr. Marah served as Chief of Staff to the President of Sierra Leone. We all know President Ernest Bai Koroma between 2010 and 2012. And it is worth mentioning here that he was the first to hold that office, which we now call the Office of the Chief Minister. In that capacity, he coordinated cross-ministerial action on nation and national policy, advised His Excellency President Ernest Bai Koroma, and ensured implementation of the agenda for change through direct oversight of strategic and technical themes at the State House. Internationally, Dr. Kaifala Marah gained prominence at the Commonwealth Secretariat as a public expenditure management advisor. There and then, he provided policy guidance and technical support to finance ministries across Africa, Asia, the Caribbean, and the Pacific. He pioneered the Commonwealth guidance for public financial movement, its self-assessment toolkit, and established knowledge networks like the Commonwealth Public Procurement Network. Dr. Marah also held legislative and public support positions in the United States of America, serving as a budget analyst and legislative aide in the New York State Senate, and a graduate fellow at the Center for International Development, where he worked on fiscal reform projects in Latin America and Africa. Having said that, let us focus on where the seed was planted. He began his professional journey in Sierra Leone as a deputy town clerk of the Kweduni Semeon Town Council. He also served as youth leader and also national president of the Kono Students Union. Dr. Marah is deeply committed to grassroots development, including, but however not limited, to road rehabilitation, rural microfinancing for women, and school construction in underprivileged areas. He is a mentor and policy coach, frequently engaged on issues of economic governance, fiscal oversight, and institutional leadership. Of course, Dr. Kaifala Marah is married to a very beautiful lady, Josephine, and they are blessed with 4 children. And Dr. Marah continues to champion transformational leadership and sustainable development across Africa. Having said that, let me summarize his educational credentials. He holds a PhD in political finance at the University of Hull in the United Kingdom. Under his belt, he holds a Master of Arts in Public Policy, State University of New York in the United States of America. He also holds a Bachelor of Arts in International Relations from Frobe College, Sierra Leone. Few awards and recognitions, including but not limited to Excellence in International Student Leadership, Rockefeller College in 2023, the New Generation Leader in Africa, the African Leadership Network in 2012, National Role Model for Youth Award, Sierra Leone 2012, he was listed, Dr. Kaifala Marah was listed among the 100 important or most influential persons in Sierra Leone that was covered by the Sierra Leone Ovation magazine. Having introduced him so far, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I have the singular honor and privilege to welcome our keynote speaker of this memorable and historic event, as he shares his insights and vision, thereby dissecting, deconstructing, reconstructing, and quintessentially contextualizing the economic malaise and security challenges. The audience loved that, and I repeat. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I have the singular honor and privilege to welcome our keynote speaker of this memorable and historical event, as he shares his insight and vision, thereby dissecting, deconstructing, reconstructing, and quintessentially contextualizing the economic malaise and security challenges our beloved country Sierra Leone persists to grapple with. Nevertheless, as Dr. Kaifala Marah has a proven track record of exceptionalism, in his keynote speech titled "A Nation at the Crossroads, Charting Sierra Leone's Path to Prosperity," I am sure he will attempt to proffer solutions to the plethora of challenges confronting us as a nation state. At this juncture, therefore, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, respected comrades, please join me in welcoming the keynote speaker, my senior brother and mentor, Chief Dr. Kaifala Marah.
You know, Dr. S.S. Marah, by the way you do this thing this evening, I think we forgive double PhD. You deserve it. Mr. Fakole, thank you so much. Good evening, everyone. Before I get started, kindly allow me to allude to something very simple, an idea that we have broached and one that I wish that will nurture as well as take along as we progress in our democratic development. It is good to have sessions like this. Conversations around national development shouldn't just take place in Parliament or in the room of cabinet or in political party offices, leaving out experts and professionals, whether they are lawyers, bankers, engineers, and all walks of life. Maybe, just maybe, a forum of this nature that equalizes everyone, that invites people from all walks of life to sit down and cross-fertilize ideas, I strongly believe should be nurtured. I think it's the way to go.
Thank you. Thank you.
And so I'll put it this way, so that we'll all get exactly what I'm alluding to. And I learned this in Trinidad and Tobago. An inscription in the office of the Hilton Hotel. And it reads, if you have an idea, and we exchange our ideas, we'll have had 2 ideas. So you will have had 2, and I will have 1, 2. If you have a penny, exchange our penny, you'll still have a penny, and I'll still have 1. So the best scenario is to learn from each other and to cross-fertilize ideas. That's why we are here tonight. Distinguished professionals, esteemed business leaders, leadership of the All People's Congress Party, and other political party leaders, officials from government. I hope and I strongly believe they should be, and then they are here. Honorable members of parliament, revered paramount chiefs, tribal heads, religious leaders, persons with disability, representatives of civil society, trade union heads, creative industry pioneers, mayors and district chairpersons, as well as councillors, our dynamic youth, empowered women, and all stakeholders gathered here this evening, I want to say good evening. Tonight, I present a nation at the crossroads, charting Sierra Leone's path to prosperity. And so I stand before you tonight, not as a politician seeking your votes, but as a son of Sierra Leone who has witnessed both the soaring heights of our nation's potential and the devastating depths of our current crisis. I come to you with 2 decades of proven experience in economic management, and international development. Having served our beloved in various capacities. Hello? And having served our beloved country in various capacities during President Ernest Bai Koroma's transformative administration that lifted Sierra Leone to become one of the fastest growing economies in the world. Tonight, we gather at the Bintumane Conference Center, a venue that has witnessed many pivotal moments in our nation's democratic journey. How fitting it is that we meet here tonight to confront the most pressing crisis of our time, and that is the economic collapse that threatens the very survival of our nation. For it is here, in this sacred space of democracy, that we must speak truth to power and chart a bold course towards the prosperity that our people deserve. The purpose of this town hall event is to lay the foundation for the culture of policy conversation that enables all walks of life to discuss critical policy matters and shared ideas. This evening, therefore, marks a new beginning in our public discourse beyond traditional press briefings. We are here not to engage in toxic politics that has plagued our nation, but to have an honest, evidence-based conversation about our economic future. That is why we have in our midst professionals drawn from various fields contributing to national development. This dialogue, therefore, represents an opportunity for government to hear from the opposition and all walks of life for policy enrichment. My fellow Sierra Leoneans, we stand at a crossroads that will determine the fate of our nations for generations to come. The path we choose will determine whether our children inherit a nation of opportunity and abundance, or one condemned to continue suffering for unfulfilled potentials. The choice before us is not merely political. Trust me, it is existential. It is about the very soul of our nation and our collective destiny as a people. The devastating reality of our economic collapse. My fellow Sierra Leoneans, let us be frank about what the government is refusing to acknowledge. We are not just in an economic crisis, we are witnessing the systematic deterioration of our economy. The Leone has lost its value more than any currency in our region. Plummeting from 7,555 old leones per US dollar in January 2018 to a staggering 22,400 old leones per US dollar in June 2025. This represents a currency collapse of over 200%. Revenue collection is underperforming under a government that promised to block leakages, but has instead become the biggest source of leakage itself. The government is spending far more than it earns, with a bloated wage bill that has grown uncontrollable since 2018. While struggling to pay salaries amidst uncontrolled spending with little oversight. The endless and sometimes unnecessary foreign travels by government officials continue to drain our treasury whilst our people suffer. Our domestic and external debt situation has become a collective nightmare. Both combined above $2 billion. Whilst yields on 364-day treasury bills have scaled back from 40% in 2024 to 16.8% in June 2025, this apparent improvement masks a deeper crisis. We shouldn't celebrate it, and I'll tell you why. Because the private sector has been completely crowded out of the credit market, and government remains saddled with the burden of debt created by years of high interest rates. With the Bank of Sierra Leone's monetary policy still at 23.75%, we must ask, if the government's appetite for domestic borrowing has supposedly reduced amidst weak revenue collection, what hidden mechanisms are keeping this government afloat? How is the government paying debts to contractors and suppliers when development partners have also turned off the tap on government? Ladies and gentlemen, the redenomination of the Leone, driven by political consideration rather than sound economic fundamentals, has left our gross external reserves at a dangerously low level of 1.8 months of import cover, far below the 3-month adequacy threshold. This leaves our economy vulnerable to external shocks and undermines our ability to maintain any semblance of exchange rate stability. Excuse me. According to the latest World Bank data, our economic growth has slowed dramatically from 5.7% in 2023 to just 4% in 2024. Whilst the current administration attempts to blame external factors such as falling iron ore prices, we must ask ourselves, why have our neighboring countries managed to recover and stabilize while Sierra Leone continues to lag? The answer lies not in global market forces beyond the control of government, but it is owing to fundamental mismanagement and policy failures that have characterized the government's approach to economic stewardship. And there is a human tragedy behind this. The stories emerging from Sierra Leone are heartbreaking testimonies. When we speak of 80% food insecurity, we are talking about mothers who skip meals for their kids to eat, and elderly citizens who must choose between buying medicine and buying food. 1 in 4 of our children suffers from malnutrition. 1 in 4 of every child in this country suffers from malnutrition. Despite our nation's abundant fisheries resources. These are not abstract numbers. They represent the faces of our neighbors, our relatives, and our fellow citizens who go to bed hungry in a country that is supposed to be flowing with milk and honey. The 25% child malnutrition rate represents a generation of Sierra Leoneans whose physical and cognitive development is being stunted by policies that prioritize political expediency over human welfare. The delay in salary and pension payments has become a routine that reduces the dignity of our public servants and retirees. Teachers, nurses, police officers, the military and civil servants who dedicate their lives to serving our nation endure the humiliation of unpaid and delayed wages whilst watching government officials travel overseas in luxury. Financial transfer to local councils suffer, and schools perish without subventions. This is not a mere administrative failure. It is the bankruptcy of a social contract between government and citizens. That is a fact. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to share with you a tale of 2 administrations: transformation versus stagnation. To understand the magnitude of our current crisis, we must examine it against what Sierra Leone achieved under competent visionary leadership. The contrast between an Nkrumah administration, in which I had the honor to serve, and the current government performance is not merely stark, it is the difference between transformation and stagnation, between hope and despair. During President Nkrumah's tenure, Sierra Leone was recognized as one of the fastest growing economies in the world, achieving an unprecedented GDP growth. We achieved unprecedented GDP growth of 20.8% at peak. This was not luck or accident. It was the result of deliberate policies, strategic investment, and competent economic management. Even when faced with the devastating dual shocks of the Ebola epidemic and the collapse of iron ore prices, such as GDP dipped from 20.8% to a negative 6%, the Nkrumah administration demonstrated resilience and effective crisis management that enabled the economy to recover strongly, achieving 6.3% growth by the time we handed power in 2018. We admitted as a government that growth had been decimated by the twin shocks. We admitted the fact. And we introduced corrective measures. The president also enabled real-time audit by the Auditor General in the middle of the Ebola crisis. What an excellent demonstration of transparent and accountable leadership. Well, Sierra Leoneans have witnessed the reverse. That same Auditor General was suspended and removed from office by the same administration for doing her job. We asked her to conduct real-time audit in the middle of a crisis. And when you do the same, Okrema and Saka. In the energy sector, the infrastructure achievement of the Nkrumah era stand as monuments to what visionary leadership can accomplish. We delivered over 1,000 kilometers of paved roads, connecting communities and facilitating trade across our nation. In stark contrast, the current administration has managed less than half of that achievement, despite having 7 years to build on the foundation that we laid. In the energy sector, our accomplishments were transformative. We kept King Tom and Blackwell Road power plant functioning. We delivered the 50 megawatt Bunguna hydro dam, along with additional hydro facilities, Charlotte, Bankasoka, and Makale. We brought Adax Bioenergy with 15 megawatts. We implemented solar parks and the innovative Barefoot Women Solar Project, brought 6 megawatts of power to Lungi and 8 megawatts to Kono, and facilitated the CLSG power supply network which connected Sierra Leone to the regional power grid. These were not mere construction projects, ladies and gentlemen. They were our investment in our nation's productive capacity and our people's quality of life. When I not out blackout? Okay. Water, the most basic of human needs, was brought to multiple cities under our watch. Kenema, Kailaun, Pujaun, Bo, Makeni, Potloko, Mile 91, and Kabbalah, which is not functioning right now. We understood that access to clean water is not a luxury, but a fundamental requirement for human dignity. The current administration's contribution to water infrastructure pale in comparison. They're not trial. Perhaps, most importantly, the Kuruma administration demonstrated that effective economic management could create an environment conducive to private sector growth and investment. We reduced domestic interest rates from a crushing 27% to under 5%, creating space for businesses to access credit and expand their operations. We introduced the Treasury Single Account for better resource management, a system that this government adopted quickly but has failed to operate effectively. But there are strategic projects that this government don't, and you should know about them. Ladies and gentlemen, we resuscitated the stock exchange to enhance access to finance. It dropped dead under this government. We embarked on the initiative to conduct sovereign credit rating supported by the Standard Chartered Bank. It dropped dead in the Ministry of Finance. We established the Young Entrepreneurs Fund as a preferential facility to assist young people start their own businesses for young people. It dropped dead at the Central Bank. It's not functioning. We introduced Skills Development Fund to support the growth of high-level skills in the economy. It dropped dead in the Ministry of Finance. We initiated effective records management system in the Accountant General's Department. Again, it dropped dead in the Ministry of Finance. We launched and operationalized a portal to track all NGO projects nationwide. It dropped dead in the new Ministry of Development Planning. We launched Transparency Sierra Leone to enable both government and citizens to track 862 projects nationwide. It dropped dead at State House. All of these initiatives died. Is it that the government didn't review our handing over notes after the 2018 elections? Or did they just abandon them? I leave that with you to ponder. It is for this reason and among several others, ladies and gentlemen, that I am proposing that political parties consider adopting what I call government transition protocol to guide transition arrangements after elections. It is important. Ladies and gentlemen, our approach to social protection during times of crisis exemplified leadership that puts people first. During the Ebola crisis, you will recall, when schools were closed for over a year, we ensured that every teacher in Sierra Leone continued to receive their salary on time. We maintained all government employees on the payroll, understanding that in times of crisis, government must be a stabilizing force, not an additional source of uncertainty and hardship. Most tellingly, we implemented policies that directly benefited ordinary Sierra Leoneans. We waived duty on rice, understanding that the cost of staple food directly impacts every household in our nation. In stark contrast, the current administration imposed unjustified tax increases on rice in 2024. Rest in there, further burdening a population already struggling with highest inflation rate in our nation's recent history. Well, while this policy has been reversed, and we know it has been reversed, but the damage has already been done. That's the truth. My proven track record. My fellow Sierra Leoneans, tonight, I come with a proven track record of economic leadership that spans over 2 decades of service to our nation and the international community. As Chief of Staff to President Nkrumah, I help coordinate the implementation of policies across government. As Minister of Finance and Economic Development, I directly manage fiscal and monetary policies in collaboration with the central bank that brought inflation under control at 6.4% and created an environment for sustainable growth. Working in collaboration with the Bank of Sierra Leone, we recapitalized our ailing banks. We saved the Sierra Leone Commercial Bank and then the Rokel Commercial Bank, both of which are dividend-paying banks today. My experience as Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation provided me with the diplomatic skills and international networks necessary to attract foreign investment and development assistance. Beyond our borders, I've served as chair of the G7+ organization, representing 20 fragile and conflict-affected states in dialogue with international financial institutions and development partners. I have co-chaired the international dialogue on peace building and state building, helping to shape global approaches to post-conflict recovery and development. I have served on the World Bank Advisory Council on Gender and Development, contributing to policies that promote inclusive economic growth. I've served as advisor on public expenditure management at the Commonwealth Secretariat in London, where I provided training and advisory service to developing member countries across the world. This experience has given me unique insight into what works and what doesn't work in economic development. I have seen successful models of transformation in other countries, and I understand how to adapt these models of Sierra Leone's to suit Sierra Leone's specific circumstances. I have the relationship and credibility with international partners that are essential for mobilizing the resources our nation needs for sustainable development. Immediate action recommendations to save our nation. Ladies and gentlemen, the current situation demands immediate action. Revenue is underperforming, expenditure is uncontrolled, compounded by an increasing wage bill and unreasonably high rates of travel. The government borrowing appetite remains high, with no credible strategy to manage domestic borrowing that comes with uncomfortable high cost. Our foreign reserves have been depleted, and support from development partners has slowed as they are waiting for ongoing negotiations between the government of Sierra Leone and the International Monetary Fund, that is the IMF. So nothing will happen right now. No partner no dey pull 1 cent until government don't settle them problems with the IMF. That's why bad. Drawing on my experience in managing Sierra Leone's economy, during both good times when we achieved record growth and difficult times when Ebola decimated our economy, I propose the following immediate actions for the consideration of government. Law no left, don't think about law help there. First, fiscal rationalization. The Ministry of Finance must conduct comprehensive fiscal rationalization of both expenditure and the revenue streams. Government must review all areas of expenditure to achieve efficiency, reduce waste, and streamline recurring spending, as well as block leakages. These include eliminating non-essential travels, unnecessary conferences, and other wasteful expenditures. The review must not be limited to expenditure alone. The ministry, in collaboration with the National Revenue Authority, should examine the tax exemption regime to enhance revenue collection. I suspect, ladies and gentlemen, that tax exemptions are killing revenue at the port. And so are excess tax exemptions for mining companies depleting government earnings. Fiscal rationalization was one of the first policies I introduced when I was appointed Minister of Finance and Economic Development. During my first 6 months as Minister, we adopted a 6-month zero borrowing policy, through which we achieved significant interest savings by scaling back interest rates below 5% on all tenors in the domestic security market. For example, the yield on 364-day tenor dropped from 27% to under 5%. These deliberate and complementing actions created fiscal space. As a result, we paid the highest minimum wage in the history of the country. We paid the highest minimum wage in the history of the country and increased salaries for members of parliament, for teachers, for nurses, the military, and the police. We increased allowances of councillors in local councils. We started paying monthly salary to paramount chiefs and the chiefdom police, etc. And we introduced the Constituency Development Fund to integrate members of parliament in the development delivery. This has been abolished by government. I don't think it's still there. Don't pull out. So, for APC say, for empower the MPs, for let them self-contribute to development and their respective constituencies, would begin for give them money. This government don't cut that. You know they again. Immediately after these sound policies, we pursued the Treasury single account to consolidate government revenues. I recall President Bio was quick to claim this as part of his leakage blocking campaign. And I remember wake up, say Treasury single account in the block leakage. They grab the Treasury single account. Not to you, now we get out. Today, one wonders how effectively the TSA is performing. If it is not as originally designed, I'll urge the Ministry of Finance and the NRA to keep track of the transit account in commercial banks. Our second proposal, presidential commitment. Fiscal rationalization requires the full support of the President. I enjoyed that support from President Ernest Bai Koroma, and it was crucial to our success. At this juncture, I humbly wish to call on the President to review the travel policy of the Presidency and reduce overseas travel. The endless string of travels is causing mayhem to the Treasury. Amidst poor revenue generation, high cost of borrowing, and the government's inability to meet statutory obligations, like timely payment of salaries. The frequent travels of the President come with the following implications. First, it opens a floodgate of travels. Everyone else travels. No control. Second, it loosens the grip of the President on affairs of state. State House handlers do not have the same clout as the head of state. And the truth is, some matters will have to wait the return of the President. But if you always travel now, how do you handle them? Our third proposal: introduce court waste panel. To sustain fiscal rationalization, the Ministry of Finance should establish a court waste panel comprising senior budget officials, retired civil servants, etc., to conduct comprehensive audit of government spending, identify waste and inefficiency, and recommend cost-saving measures. I see Minister Momodu Sidon, Nadane bin they do. Some ministries, and they bring ordinary mug for drink tea, now 1 million euros they say cost. So you get for review that. Law not pretend, we get for do that. If you not do that, it's not possible for law go anywhere. Fourth, review the wage bill. Continuing our examination of the wage bill crisis, it is essential to acknowledge a fundamental principle of economic governance. Government cannot and should not attempt to create all employment opportunities within a nation. Rather, the government's primary responsibility is to create an enabling environment that allows the private sector to flourish and generate sustainable employment for citizens. However, when a government stifles the private sector environment through excessive regulation and hostile policies, it inevitably finds itself compelled to create artificial employment opportunities for party loyalists by establishing new, often redundant institutions. This approach not only bloats the public wage bill, but also creates unnecessary layers of bureaucratic confusion that impedes effective governance. The current administration's approach exemplifies this dysfunction. Through punitive taxation regime and the inconsistent application of investment policies, the space for private sector growth has become increasingly constrained and hostile. Faced with this challenge, the government has resorted to the creation of multiple agencies and institutions, placing unnecessary pressure on an already strained national budget. The proliferation of these agencies has created a bureaucracy with overlapping mandates and conflicting jurisdiction. Consider, for instance, the array of institutions with intersecting responsibilities in land and environment management. There is a Ministry of Lands. This government created a Lands Commission. There is an Environmental Protection Agency. Again, they created a Ministry of Environment. These entities must somehow coordinate their activities within a framework where interagency collaboration is notoriously narrow in scope and painfully slow. This institutional proliferation represents the antithesis of effective job creation. Rather than generating meaningful employment opportunities, They contribute to national development. That contribute to national development, it merely inflates the public wage bill whilst creating institutional gridlock that fundamentally impedes our development. That is about the economy. What I believe government can do in the short term to clear the clothes, to clear all the blockages and heal the economy so as to be able to prepare the launch pad for tomorrow's growth. Government has to do that. That is our recommendation. But allow me, ladies and gentlemen, to focus on another aspect that has to do with governance challenges and the erosion of our democracy. Ladies and gentlemen, our nation's crisis extends beyond economic mismanagement alone. The crossroads at which Sierra Leone finds itself encompasses fundamental challenges in governance, security and law enforcement, and electoral reforms, issues that lie at the very heart of our democratic survival. Since 2018, our country has witnessed a systematic nationwide campaign of brutally orchestrated attacks against opposition supporters. This reign of terror has been characterized by the cruel persecution of political opponents, with party stalwarts still languishing in detention. The gravity of this democratic regression is further compounded by inflammatory pronouncements from the senior officials of the ruling Sierra Leone People's Party, who have repeatedly declared their unwillingness to transfer power to the All People's Congress should we prevail in the 2020 presidential elections. Then they just talk and no more. Then talk. No. The government has, on numerous occasions before, during, and after the 2023 elections, made illegal use of military aid to civilian power, resulting in the deployment of state security forces against defenseless civilians and indirect contravention of our laws. This systemic approach represents nothing less than erosion of democracy, widespread human rights violations, and the oppression of opposition members. Our judiciary, once the guardian of constitutional democracy, has fallen victim of state capture, with judicial decisions increasingly divorced from legal precedent and constitutional principles. Law enforcement agencies have been similarly compromised, as have numerous civil society organizations and non-state actors who should serve as bullets against authoritarian overreach. However, I must pause here, ladies and gentlemen, to invite you all distinguished to recognize and applaud those courageous lawyers who demonstrated remarkable integrity by standing firm against the institutional manipulation of the Bar Association. Their principal resistance served as a beacon of hope in these dark periods of our democracy. The recent appointment of an electoral commissioner for the Eastern Province, conducted without due process and contrary to the recommendations of the tripartite committee report, serves as a stark reminder of the comprehensive electoral fraud perpetrated during the 2023 elections. And I wish to state categorically that such manipulation will not be tolerated in the 2028 elections. You know, the actions of government, they started a reminder of the way the 2023 elections were rigged. The 2023 electoral fraud was methodical and multifaceted. It began with the conduct of a fraudulent midterm census, continued with the systematic manipulation of election result management and tallying processes, included the deliberate exclusion of political parties from the printing and deployment of polling materials, involved the production of substandard voter identification cards, encompassed widespread polling day fraud, and culminated in flagrant violations of established procedures for tallying and announcing results after elections. It has become abundantly clear that the government deliberate, skewed, manipulative, dilatory approach to implementing the recommendations of the Tripartite Committee report must be addressed immediately and comprehensively. And I wish to state firmly that the conduct of the 2028 election must be done in strict accordance with our laws and that of the recommendations of the Tripartite Committee. The integrity of our democratic process depends on our collective commitment to ensuring that never again will Sierra Leone electoral system be subjected to such systemic abuse. The time for half measures and political accommodation has passed. We've accommodated them too long. Our democracy demands nothing less than complete adherence to international standards of electoral conduct. In addition to all of this that I believe we should do as a political party, there is something else I wish to draw your attention to. And it is sad, it is a shame, but that's the reality. The toxicity of our politics and the deep animosity between the APC and the SLPP since independence account for the painful and slow pace of our development over 6 decades. This was exacerbated by the 11-year civil conflict and deepened by the rigging of the 2023 elections, which has eroded trust between the two main political parties. You know, when a nation finds itself in such a conundrum, there must be a team of eminent persons who can speak truth to power and provide advice as the conscience of state. Sadly, this is lacking in Sierra Leone, as the toxicity of our politics has permeated even the religious bodies and all stakeholder institutions. And so therefore, all religious bodies, all institutions, everyone, know they foretell people through when things they go wrong in the country. So I propose establishing a league of eminent Sierra Leoneans to play the role of moral guarantors, to secure peace and steady the ship of state. This body will provide moral leadership our nation desperately needs. Ladies and gentlemen, that is on our democracy, our rule of law, and everything that has to do with our right. I now invite you to hear me out on our vision for transformation, how we transform this country. Recall, in 2023, I shared with this country our vision of New Hope, a document that I launched. And trust me, that has been reviewed. And what I'm presenting to you here now is just a summary of what the vision will look like. It's a summary. And I call them the 5 pillars of economic revolution. Based on my experience and analysis of our current challenges, I present a comprehensive 5-pillar economic transformation agenda, along with several enablers that will restore Sierra Leone to prosperity and ensure that the benefits of growth are shared by all our citizens. Will attain middle income status by 2035 and transform Sierra Leone to become a center of excellence in wealth creation and exemplary progress. Accelerate energy capacity at 1,000 megawatts, deliver clean drinking water above 90%, adopt a social reform agenda, improve access to health and basic human services. Pillar 1, strong macroeconomic foundation, fiscal discipline, and government efficiency. We will immediately work towards achieving a strong macroeconomic foundation backed by comprehensive fiscal discipline through the cut waste panel, among others, and implement a debt sustainability framework that ensures our borrowing remain within our manageable limits. We'll restore the Treasury single account to its intended function and implement modern public financial management systems that track expenditure in real time. We'll embark on effective revenue mobilization, for example, increasing revenue in the fishery sector from its current deteriorating trend. We'll invest in mobile tax platforms, e-invoicing systems, and electronic fiscal devices to modernize our tax collection. Every business, whether formal or informal, will be digitally registered and fairly contribute to national development. At this juncture, I would like to commend the government for rolling out the Mineral Wealth Fund. The Mineral Wealth Fund will help government increase its share in some of the mining companies. But they are picking this up from the APC's initiative by forcibly establishing the Extractive Industry Revenue Unit in the NRA. This initiative will no doubt bolster revenue generation. Pillar 2, private sector development and investment promotion will create an enabling environment for private sector growth by eliminating bureaucratic barriers, streamlining business registration processes, and implementing investor-friendly policies, including aftercare services. We'll build on the special economic zones. We started that, and this government also continued. So we'll build on that with modern infrastructure and create venture capital funds for small and medium enterprises, particularly those led by women and young entrepreneurs. We will set up a high-level National Economic Council to provide technical support and a Business and Investment Council to advise the government on improving the investment climate. At this juncture also, I would like to commend the government for signing ambitious projects with relevant US institutions on energy and infrastructure development. These are opportunities to build upon. So not to for just tell them say they do bad. When they do good, we acknowledge that. But the bad will pass the good. Pillar 3, agricultural transformation and food security. It is unacceptable that a nation blessed with fertile soil and abundant rainfall should have 80% of its population facing food insecurity. We'll implement a comprehensive agricultural transformation program under our Green Economy Initiative that increases productivity, improves market access, and ensures food security for all Sierra Leoneans through rural infrastructure investment, improved seeds and fertilizers, and climate-smart agriculture. We'll roll out an ambitious agricultural program enabled by the nationalization of land. Yes, we'll nationalize some land for large-scale agriculture and commercial agriculture, and we'll establish a bank for agriculture and industry and leverage our comparative advantage, such as in cassava and rice production. Pillar 4, energy, security, and infrastructure development. Building on the achievement of President Nkrumah, we will set a target of delivering 1,000 megawatts of energy and accelerate the development of renewable energy sources, expand the national grid to reach underserved communities, and continue the road construction programs, which with a focus on connecting agricultural areas to market and improving regional connectivity. Pillar 5, human capital development and social protection. We will invest strategically in building a resilient and future-ready population through a transformative literacy and skills revolution, robust education system reform, and expanding access to technical, vocational, and entrepreneurial training. Our goal is to empower all citizens, particularly women, youth, and the elderly, with the knowledge and tools needed to thrive in a modern, inclusive economy. We will start this under President Nkrumah, who established the Skills Development Fund. We say, okay, maybe we train 200 to 300 young people in solar engineering. They will help them form themselves into companies. And then we use the Young Entrepreneurs Fund, when a special fund within at the central bank, for funding companies there, so they go train. And what we will go do, we assign them companies there to all the districts, so now them for the handle all solar projects we government they do. They bring them all together, then form one company, then list and at the stock exchange will be established. That stock exchange, you don't die today. They will charge them with the responsibility for charge the country in future under clean energy. Development not to accident, not to act, na science. You get for act on them. Now some of them kind of will get for you. You create opportunity for young people and for women them as well. It's painful. Even the barefoot solar project, where government been established, now so women there, we call them solar engineers, so women them. Then start, we build this relationship with people in India, so women then will become solar engineers. You get women that will not go to school one day, but then are solar engineer. So if you expand the scope of that project, how do women then go to the field? They're not going to be part of the economy. You're not going to integrate them. Because now women know when picking have backcourt, now know when picking the talk about who saying body don't want. So we give women the opportunity, the country they grow. These are some of the initiatives that we'll therefore take forward. This pillar includes the rollout of comprehensive social protection systems, such as universal health coverage and target support for vulnerable populations, including the elderly and persons with disability. That's not the disability there, man. Okay, well, even inside the tripartite report, one of the things we say that people with disability, political parties for make chance for integrate them in elections so that they will find themselves in elected offices. And that 10% of all positions, all apart from the presidency, 10% of all offices, all positions for the young people. By aligning human capital development with a long-term national goals, we aim to position Sierra Leone as a hub of innovation, productivity, and social equity, ensuring no one is left behind in our journey towards sustainable growth and national transformation. So after these 5 pillars, we have what we refer to as the enablers. There should be enablers to ensure that the 5 pillars succeed. 1, credible and strong judiciary. Ladies and gentlemen, a credible, independent, and efficient judiciary is fundamental to the success of our development agenda. The rule of law is not just a democratic ideal, it is an economic imperative. Investors, development partners, and citizens alike must trust that contract will be enforced, rights will be protected, and justice will be served impartially. A strengthened judiciary will underpin the transparent governance system we aim to build, ensure fair and timely resolution of disputes, and uphold the checks and balances necessary for good governance. We will work to depoliticize and modernize our judicial institutions, invest in capacity building, and promote access to justice for all, thereby reinforcing confidence in Sierra Leone as a stable, secure, and attractive environment for development and investment. If we fail to fix that, we are done. When businesses not get confidence in the judicial system, they not get confidence say you go respect the contract where you government don't sign, they know they come. Now fly by night contractors they come, people will not know anything. Or we who can't give you one morning and go. So forget credible investment for moving the country forward, ladies and gentlemen. We need this kind of reform, and that this will therefore do. Number 2, leveraging creative and digital transformation, technology, sports, talent, and entertainment for development. And we call this the white economy. The future economy will be increasingly digital, and Sierra Leone must boldly embrace innovation to secure our competitive future. Our strategy for digital transformation will focus on using technology as a catalyst for inclusive development, solving local challenges, creating jobs, and opening access to global markets. We will invest in the expansion of tech hubs and innovation incubators across the country to nurture talent for startups, entrepreneurs, women, and the youth. By fostering a vibrant ecosystem for fintech innovations, we will improve access to financial services and stimulate economic activities, especially for small and women-owned businesses. Digital literacy will be embedded in our national education system, ensuring that our youth are equipped with future-ready skills, including coding, AI, data science, and cybersecurity. We will also introduce policies to guide the safe and ethical use of AI and emerging technologies, encouraging responsible innovation while protecting citizens' rights. Technology will be leveraged to enhance governance, transparency, and service delivery, driving digital public services that are citizen-focused, accessible, and efficient. The launch of the Dr. Marah campaign app and website is only the beginning. With this, we'll begin to look into how technology can drive growth, inclusion, and long-term prosperity. One of the key features of that mobile app will be our talent database and skills directory. We'll begin to collect data on the skills diversity of Sierra Leoneans around the world to fuel our human capital readiness. We don't have to always source skills from other economies. When we have a critical pool of talent at home and abroad, it is time to look inwards. Let me explain this a bit. So we want to fix the challenges for access to water. And you are looking for experts. And so what you do is, you reach out to the World Bank or ECOWAS or the Islamic Development Bank or African Development Bank to send you experts. They come, they do pre-feasibility, they finish with that. Someone again comes, reviews that, and then they do the proper feasibility studies. Then they conduct environmental impact assessment. They do their cost-benefit analysis. How many months? 36 months, sometimes 3 to 4 years. Why? Because you do not have the experts in your country. But the reality is Sierra Leone has grown. We have expats around the world, but we do not know where they are. So what this mobile app is about is to create a platform for Sierra Leoneans all over the world to register their skills, where they are and what they can do. So let us assume we hit commercial proportions tomorrow for the oil and gas exploration that is ongoing. Question is, where are our experts? Because that was the way to go study oil and gas. Not to oil and gas, now the story of oil and gas. We're not to chemical engineer, not to hydraulic engineer, no, nothing. So that they will come manage and for we. Now Ghanaians and Nigerians. But with this app, you never know Sierra Leoneans and then at the world. We don't already do this. So when terrorists, you just go in a database, you identify, expert them across the world, you bring them, deploy them. It saves you time and money. Africa's creative industry generates 4.2 billion annually and runs faster than any other sector. UNESCO projects it could create 20 million jobs and generate 20 billion annually. We will therefore harness sports, talent and entertainment industry to drive change and innovation for growth, especially among young people. 3, climate change and environmental sustainability, our green and blue economy. As we pursue economic development, we must also safeguard our natural environment and build climate resilience. Sierra Leone is highly vulnerable to the impact of climate change, including rising sea levels, coastal erosion, flash floods, deforestation, and shifting rainfall patterns that threaten lives, infrastructure, and agricultural productivity. Our development strategy, therefore, will prioritize bold environmental reforms that drive both sustainability and inclusive growth. This includes transitioning from plastic to paper bags, investing in waste energy, in waste-to-energy technologies to turn garbage into clean power, and promoting a circular economy that minimizes waste and maximizes resource use. Uno don't tell Bome. What about the one now upgone? You can take the one and they turn on to clean energy. Clean the place up there, get lights back. So if you don't come with their ideas and they will not go no sir. And we'll continue for see. We'll expand renewable energy access, particularly solar and hydro, and implement climate-smart agriculture to boost food security while protecting our ecosystems. Our approach will also revamp Sierra Leone's green economy through large-scale reforestation and sustainable land use, and strengthen our blue economy by sustainably managing marine resources, coastal tourism, and fisheries. Through ecotourism, protected biodiversity, environmental research, and green job creation will ensure that environmental sustainability becomes a foundation, not a barrier for economic prosperity and intergenerational equity. Number 4, restoring international confidence and partnership. The international community now gets confidence in we all. I hope you know that. If you don't know that, ask anybody where they travel. Let them tell you possibly hold salon passports, how many times they embarrass them. So we need to change that perception. While there is growing concern that our nation is increasingly perceived as being vulnerable to elite networks, raising alarm among some of the key development and private sector partners, we must acknowledge this reality without accepting it as our destiny. Not all is lost, Sierra Leone. One of our most urgent tasks will be to restore the confidence of international partners and investors who have grown disillusioned with Sierra Leone's economic governance. Having worked extensively with international organizations, I understand what it takes to rebuild trust and credibility. We'll prioritize the establishment of transparent, accountable governance system that aligns with international standards. We will honor our commitment to global treaties, strategically engage our diaspora as a bridge to international market and development efforts, and reposition Sierra Leone as a trustworthy and capable partner in both regional and global initiatives. So I talk about the diaspora. The diaspora gets a lot for contribute. Me not go na WhatsApp groups, so no more. But whether not the diaspora or na Sierra Leone, we go through the groups and have plenty halala. We don't time for challenge the diaspora. We form special purpose vehicle for support some project or some programs. Whether not energy or not for build affordable homes. We get for do that, but we get for able to organize the diaspora. Then for become one big chunk for help develop this country. You will know that by the remittances that they send every now and then to the country. So we get for position the diaspora in the economy. Well, we've said all of this. But are we a peaceful country? Are we okay? Are we fine? No. So that's another challenge. We have to find a way to address that. And I call it a call to unity and collective action. And I say this because me have been chair of the G7 Plus. Of 20 fragile states, we don't go through conflict and don't get issues and challenges. Whether an issue in a Central African Republic after elections or a confusion in South Sudan, or waiting to happen in Afghanistan or in Yemen, we've been there at the center of plenty. But trust me, without peace, you know we'll go forward. So they draw on their experiences and they foresee what we will do for leverage peace in our country. My fellow Sierra Leoneans, the challenges we face are significant, but they are not insurmountable. Throughout our history, we have demonstrated remarkable resilience. We survived a brutal war and emerged stronger. We overcame the Ebola epidemic and rebuilt our communities. We have the strength, wisdom, and determination to overcome our current economic challenges and build the prosperous nation we all envision. But we cannot do this alone. We cannot do so without peace. We cannot do so without unity. The divisions that have weakened our nation must be healed. We must put aside personal ambitions and petty grievances in service of the greater good. We must remember that we are all Sierra Leoneans first, and that our shared destiny transcends political affiliations and regional loyalties. I call upon every professional here in this room tonight to use your skills and expertise in service of our nation. I call upon every business leader to invest to Sierra Leone's future and create opportunities for our young people and our women. I call upon every civil society here tonight to hold leaders accountable and ensure they deliver on their promises. I call upon every trade union to work towards creating an economy that provides decent work and fair wages for all. To our creative industry pioneers, your talents and innovations are essential to our nation's soft power and cultural identity. To our dynamic youth, and I see many of you, you are not just leaders of tomorrow, but you are the change agents of today. To our empowered women, I say so empowered, your full participation in our economy and politics is not just a matter of justice, it is an economic necessity. At this juncture, ladies and gentlemen, allow me to conclude. My fellow Sierra Leoneans, as I conclude my remarks tonight, I want to leave you with a sense of hope and possibilities. Yes, our challenges are significant, but our potential is even greater. We have the natural resources, the human capital, and the strategic location to become one of Africa's prosperous nations. What we need is leadership, strong leadership that can unlock this potential and channel it towards sustainable development. The choice before us in 2028 is clear. We can continue down the path of economic mismanagement, policy inconsistency, and declining living standards, or we can choose a new path based on proven policies, experienced leadership, and a comprehensive vision for transformation. We can choose to remain trapped in the cycles of poverty and dependency, or we can choose to break free and claim our rightful place amongst prosperous nations in this world. Sierra Leone deserves better. Our children deserve even better. Our future deserves the most. Together, all of us, we can build the Sierra Leone of our dreams. A nation where prosperity is shared and opportunities are abundant, and every citizen can live with dignity and hope. The time for change is now. The opportunity is before us, and the choice is ours. Let us choose wisely, ladies and gentlemen. Choose wisely. Let us choose boldly. And let us choose together. Let us choose our new hope for Sierra Leone. Because all of us tonight can see the sun rising again. And tomorrow, it's gonna rise. I wanna thank you, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, and may God bless Sierra Leone. I wanna thank you and good evening. Thank you, Mr. Makoto.
Let us have our seats now. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Dr. Marah. Can we have our seats, please? Can we take our seats, please? Can Mr. Ajibu Jallo come over here to help me handle this other segment of this program? Mr. Ajibu Jallo. I want to thank Dr. Kaifala Marah for a very, very thought-provoking presentation this evening. May I also state that even the methodology used in introducing him was quite novel. When SS Marah introduced him, that reminds me of the programs of Wole Soyinka, because whenever he was introduced, even the introducer himself comes up with a whole book. But this was very good. But may I also assure Mr. SS Marah that if it comes to fanciful English, like he attempted to do this evening, we have our own vice chairman of the APC who can equally take him on in the use of fanciful English. So thank you very much, Dr. Marah. The second segment will take the form of questions, and you're at liberty to ask questions, and Dr. Marah will be prepared to respond to those questions. And we will we will commence the question time. So if you have any question to ask, ladies and gentlemen, all you need to do is to put your hand up and you'll be identified and you'll be given the opportunity to ask the question. So we are going to start because we cannot waste further time. So this is now time for questions. And Mr. Ujalo will go around to identify those who want to ask questions for this segment of this very important program. So the floor is open for questions, ladies and gentlemen. Your name, please.
I can't wait. Dr. Magasa, Mina retired Colonel S.E.T. Marah, and disappointingly, I will ask you a very difficult question tonight. I'm very much aware that your international records is exemplary. I'm very much aware that your political career in the Republic of Sierra Leone is exemplary. We proud of you. But there are few issues where I go on for ask. Why? Because me no understand English. Much of your presentation not by English. And me want for gain, and I want for make every other person I make it gain. I'm gonna wait and look inside my phone. You touch on every corner of the economy and how you will address it. But I will want for first and foremost respectfully submit that I ask you one question, Pancreo, and I will make you answer me Pancreo. Waiting will make we and the entire Sierra Leone support you for making the flag bearer of the APC and then the president of the Republic of Sierra Leone. That kind of question where I want to make you answer me, Pancreo, wait for me. You talk about health. You talk about, no, wait for me. I tell you now, say, we hospital the empty, no medicine, no do. And by your 5 pillars, you touch on the security, but you fail to make it very clear as to how you were able to bring in the security sector.
On education, Sierra Leone is nil. On mining, it has been dominated by foreigners. Power supply, you mentioned that we're in constant blackout. On international relations, you mentioned about that. We are a disgrace now to the entire world. On elections, this is very important for you. On elections, the experience what we don't get is that elections in Sierra Leone is never free. Elections now hot something. We want to know how prepared you dey for contain the elections will not go be free. Let me quickly add. Okay, now make a cut and short, make a ask you how you were able to address this situation. Yeah, thank you very much.
Okay, now we just want to make the ground rules very, very clear. You know, we're not going to allow anybody for talking more than 1 minute.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, for me to expedite this process and be very fair, there are big when you ask question and question only, you get 1 minute. And there are big, most respectfully, go straight to the question. Okay? Dr. Marah will listen to 5 questions. He answer, they will go over again. If you begin parabulate, unfortunately, I will take the mic now you and do make that not happen.
So the ground rules are very clear. 1 minute.
Honorable, state your name, when are you, then the question, please.
I'm Mina Honorable Abubakar Fufana, Member of Parliament. When somebody talk on economy, I always feel good and wish for contribute. Some time ago in Parliament, I am the doubt child of this program asked Abbas who said, did you see this coming? Then I described the Kunkum budget of the SLP. So I resonate with you tonight, but I have these questions for you. Not in terms of flag bearer, but in terms of think tank for Sierra Leone. Given the downturn of our economy, can you be able to tell me the indicators we will give you hope for say yes indeed we can do it better come 2020. God bless you.
Thank you.
We'll do a total of 5 questions, Dr. Marah. Then you'll answer. We don't get 2, we need 3 more. Okay, to get clarification. The next person. You? Okay.
Hey, 1 minute. I want to make expand on the indicators. I mean the microeconomic fiscal indicators where they move this country forward. Thank you.
Okay. The gentleman in the red tie. Oh, okay.
Mina Engineer Ishmael Kanun. Of course, by my name, I'm an engineer and a civil engineer. Sorry for that introduction. And Dr. Marah, I want to tell you thank you for the great submission where you don't make. You talk about 5 pillars for your economic revolution. But inside the pillar they're not too specific, but there is something where the gentleman mentioned about mining. I wonder if tell we, Nayan, and for the listeners, waiting will be EU mining policy when they make ladies' country benefits, especially when we know say most of the oils that we get in this country, if only we can able to refine them, we get bauxite, we get iron ore, we get rutile. If only we can able to refine them oils in this country, we can get employment, great employment here, and that also will increase the economy. Number 2, I'll give you a chance. Number 2, we also want to know, coming from the university, what that you plan? You say, you want to enhance, human capital and development. What thing would be, EU policy for make sure that we get research fund them, now the university then in this country such that, we engineering department them, like the chemistry department, the physics department, and the department we come up from, we will able to do
5 seconds. 5 seconds.
1 second more. We will able to get the funds that necessary for carrying out experiment they will make. We say able for refine their order in this country. Thank you very much.
Thank you, engineer. The gentleman in the red tie.
Good evening, everybody. I am Abdulrahman Jalo, the Debate and Public Speaking President at Fobe College. As student leaders, we are directly affected by the policies made by government, and which is why we are also concerned. And my question penetrates economic diversity and debts. With over 90% of public debts to GPD, 90.5% as of 2023, according to the African Development Bank, and heavy reliance on mining exports, iron ore, diamonds. What concrete plans do you have to diversify the economy and reduce debts?
Thank you. Final question for this young Honorable Kello. Final question for this young Honorable Kello. We have a few more rounds to go, 5 at a time. So don't worry. Honorable Kello, please. Honorable Kello, please. We will get an opportunity for ask question. This is now 5 questions at an hour. Go ahead, sir.
Thank you very much, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. This is like an observation. Presently in this country, let us go to a point. Our difficulty is economy. That is clear. When there is difficulty in economy, political turbulence takes effect as it is now. My own point I want to share to we the audience is that we have an individual who is an economist, and we have a problem. We have an economic problem. So Dr. Marah, by his presentation, is an economist professional. And now, Sierra Leone, we have an economic problem. It is like taking a carpenter to perform an appendix operation. You have somebody who is an economist. There should be no option, no dispute, but rather just go at the point and get Dr. Marah as president. For him to realize his dreams, he must be nominated by a political party. And to get that nomination, you have to deal with your delegates. But this is the cosmetics now. We are not delegates. Not all of us here are delegates. But rather, he sees it imperative upon him to talk to us, even though we are not delegates, to understand that Sierra Leone is about to take a different paradigm now. So, ladies and gentlemen, I ask that we continue to support the cause. Now we've seen the solution. We've seen the light at the end of the tunnel. It is just our wake up now to get this thing done. Thank you very much.
I walk backwards. I say thanks to the 5 people who asked questions. I think the last one are comments you make. I just want to say thank you for the comments you make. And thank you for the position you take. That's my Honorable Kello. Abdulrahman Jalo, asked question on the economy, on mining, as well as debt, correct? If I get you right. And what you go do for handle debt reduction and for stabilize the economy, is that it? Okay. Well, my answer to Mr. Jalo, it dovetails with some of the questions which others may not ask. So one, please make una listen to me keenly. You know, for run a country within a very bad state like how they so, you need for do certain things. You need for clean up a mess. If you not clean up a mess, it's difficult for let you move forward. I talk about debt, domestic and external debt. Trust me, they are above $2 billion. So he asks himself, not only debt no more, but the interest payment alone, that's a huge drain on the economy. So you get for try for clear that. I want to share something with you now. In 2014, what they deliver the budget in parliament, I tell them of a new economic model, and I want to touch on that. And I want to say what they do so, go largely inform what you Honorable Sefsi. I want to make you listen, sir. At a point, with debt, with domestic debt in there around 293 billion. Then the interest rate on domestic securities and our treasury bills and the others, it being so high. And when you take a look at the 290-something billion, almost 300 billion, then waiting would they pay for debt, for service then debt then they. In more than waiting government, they spend for with development in 5 ministries. So I hope una get me. So you get for continue for pay. And trust me, you're not able to move. That is why we adopt zero borrowing policy. So from January to June of 2023, when I got as Minister of Finance, I said I know the trust. I know the borrow. When you refuse for borrow, the interest rate on all the securities drop, on all the tenors drop under 5%. We hold on there. Then we make a lot of interest savings. That will provide a slack. We'll get fiscal space. We're now able to get resources for do other things. The debt burden reduced. So because the debt burden reduced, I recall we've been there for paying a situation and run this place some money. The interest rate been there around 18%. I call them. I say, government will pay, but not go put this 18%. If you not agree with me, will they pay single digit at 8%? I will pay una next month. If una say no after next month, we will only pay una the rate at which the interest prevails in the securities market. Trust me, we pay them at a lower interest rate, and at the end of the day, we create fiscal space. Somebody grab me, go tell President Koma, say the economy will crash. I say, sir, no economy, no they crash. Now we the trust. But make I tell you why this is very important, sir. When government they borrow at high interest rates, the banks then they become lazy. They know they do anything. Because not to them your money, in fact, now government couple, when they don't know all their accounts, now then they sweep. Then take and give government they trust in your money by himself. And at a higher interest rate. I don't think full past that level. So okay, well, we don't trust anymore. We don't manage with what you will get. When the interest rates go down, we start for borrow, and we make sure it not reach a double digit. So that creates space and slack for we. Now through that process, in addition to the iron ore export we get, now that help we for do many things. So for manage debt as we do so, na key priority. If we not manage them, na problem. That is why I say, among all the key actions we for take, we get for try as much as possible for manage your appetite on debt. Recently, whilst interest rates did around 40%, government and the banks work such that the interest rates don't drop around 16-something%, which is good. But government therefore manage in appetite for borrowing. And for compensate that, government therefore clean up the expenditure. We do plenty to Minister Sidona. They go attest to this. It reach a point, if you want to hold conference or seminar, hold an office, you don't need to go to Brookfield Hotel. You make savings. You cut travel. We cut for office and general. We cut for lubricants. who caught fear, all of them will make reductions. Some areas in at 30%, some areas in at 25%. At the end of the day, we'll make savings. Plus, we introduce something where, I don't know if they do them, and I think it's necessary. When the year around, government can owe some ministries and some money. So in January, then they come back to the ministry for say, pay we the backlog of the last quarter. And then give we again the money for this first quarter. So I say, no, you know, if you keep correct, you know going that correct day for breakfast, they drink tea again for breakfast. They're not right, you know the work so don't just drink the tea. That correct they keep her. Or if they eat the correct, you eat her, but no give money for tea again. Because I tell you, in international institutions, when the budget year close, they start fresh. You know they go over all what you've been done left. That's an efficient budget management. So what I want to say is, what we need right now, as I set out, government need for clean in-house. Government need for clean expenditure stream. Government need for postal revenue collection. When the revenue drop, as Minister of Finance, go on port. When the revenue drop, take a look at the transit account. So plenty things the way government get for do with the immediate situation, the immediate problems you get for arrest them before you begin member for make money. I mean, if I get for pay you 20 cents or 20 leones, I get for pay you that 20 leones first before I begin realize say yes, this. But if I owe you, I owe this man, I owe this man, and I owe that man. At the end of the day, waiting I get per month is small. Then how I get to look after me picking the school fees? Now the same way governance is wrong. So government get for managing appetite for borrowing domestically. If not to that, we'll not go nowhere. So that's now for you, Chief Adraman. I come to engineer. You talk about mining policy. Engineer, you know, I'm happy about this because this is what I said earlier. When they get conversations like this, not just politicians, you know, they bring the people them who actually they work in the relevant sector for participating in the conversation. That is why I hope and I pray that after tonight, we'll get a replication of this kind of forum in the country. So I come to you. You talk about mining policy. You know, when I did at State House as Chief of Staff, one of the things we do now for review all mining lease agreements. We review all mining lease agreements. Well, we'll go far, we review all because of time. Elections when they come close. But after we don't review all mining agreements, one of the things we do, and when I say review them, we up government intake in many of their agreements. One of the things we do, now for come up with a model mining lease agreement, a model agreement. That model agreement is very important for say, whatever happened for this tax area na this, for that na this. But you go na a country, for example here, you get one particular mineral with two mining companies in mine. They all the tax regime different. I hope you get me. So one in tax they up, the other and they don't. That's not the over well. That mining lease agreement, that model mining lease agreement will be prepared for guide government for go into mining, any other mining agreement, not that exists today. It's no longer in existence. And after we do that, we look into another thing. We say, okay, we get for maximize we take in mining. How we go about that? Now we set up a special unit na NRA for audit all mining companies. Take a look at their tax so that we will get the returns so they expect for get. So set up the unit, extractive revenues industrial unit. We did it, the unit did it. Now that unit they handle mining companies. But going beyond that, we tell ourselves say, need they for make we set up the National Transformation Fund. So you take 5 or 6% of all land tax, you put another fund. Then beyond that, you go now for the waiting government don't do so now, when at the Minerals Wealth Fund. I like the Minerals Wealth Fund because it means government and companies, they invest, government, they get special free carried interest in the company at X%. So now government and that company, they make the money. Now government and that company, they share profit. When that happens, government intake will grow, it will increase in many of the mining companies. So that's now one thing where government can do in the mining company. So if you ask me what thing will be my mining policy, these are some of them. Review some MLAs, the one they think to say no good. Then come up with a model mining disagreement so that you get a standard. With this one will pay 1 tax, then they will pay 5 tax, all level. When once you don't do that, they go for the Mineral Wealth Fund, they begin for grow up and go back. Trust me, within a very short period, the country they grow. I can't to the thing where they talk about engineering, about funds for engineering and research. Not so. When I then at State House, we discover a few things, especially when they review the mining lease agreements. And I want to listen to this. It's very, very interesting. When they review some MLAs where they deal with gold, where they deal with plenty of the minerals, then I ask a question. Will we export them in iron ore? When they want them for rutile, what about gold? Then show me some people, GGDO, which was good. But the truth is, we will not get too many experts in the country for clearly understand the grade of them minerals. They're not to expert in them, we'll get only few of them. That was why we decided for establish the Skills Development Fund for deliberately train, build capacity of Sierra Leoneans for able handle their sectors there, we could help government for growth. So what we did was, we call the Institution of Engineers, not to say we call them, they will call the universities, then self-camp, then we self-see as government. We should now get a basket fund. Make the mining companies and all other companies tell we the skill set where they require. And the Institution of Engineers then work with them companies there and advise the tertiary institutions for say, these are the new skill sets Sierra Leone need for growth, for link with human resource capacity to natural resources. I hope he gets me. So, the mining companies will contribute X% of their corporate social responsibility into that. Government will match the fund. If the institution is not able to train them, they're not able to provide, they're not able to get the faculty for trained people in that area, they can outsource them. Institution of Engineers, they will come back to me. When they will come back? No, sir, they're not come. And then we'll find ourselves saddled with that. So where are the experts? How you gonna know this thing wouldn't they move now this grade it did? Now first grade, second grade, third grade, you don't know. So that was why in the Ministry of Finance we established the Skills Development Fund. We put on for deliberately train Sierra Leoneans in many skill areas. For example, fisheries. They can't do the exploration they do in oil. In many other areas, we not get that crop of experts in the economy. We're able to assist government for make policies and plan and move forward. So I take your point. If I get the opportunity for lead, trust me, the Skills Development Fund, not waiting the World Bank they support so. The Skills Development Fund they work. All the key areas, all the key technical areas, skill areas where the country need for growth, we they invest deliberately in that. If the universities not get the faculty, we outsource them. So when you train them people and they help you for moving country forward. That is why the mobile app way that they do, I don't create what they call skills directory. After 6 months or a year, we don't know exactly the skills gap we'll get in our country. They will not say, okay, under fisheries, that this skill set lacking. Under oil and gas, now this. So when you know that, it's very easy for you as a government for invest in the skills areas we require for moving country forward. And that will make you provide resources from companies where they invest in the country, especially when you need engineers, for set up the think tank for help the institution of engineers. Thank you, sir. Bafofana, how I say this, indicators are not good. They go tell you, say, well, inflation don't go down. Inflation generally, now how prices they go, now they call inflation otherwise. So you say, okay, inflation don't go down, but price or not they go down. The only price you see they go down recently, I think then 2 days out, now the pump price, not so. But that pump price don't go down, it's true. But that not they influence the Maggi when they don't begin sell 15 cents, and then they go down again.
Exactly.
So the inflation that they talk about, clearly correlates with the day-to-day prices in the market. So many they buy that. What thing I go buy is you introduce strong fiscal measures. We go make sure say the economy stabilize. We go make the import cover not just stay as 1.8 as it is now. You will get a 3-month import cover. When you domestic debt, I always say it's a pretty big indicator. When your domestic debt they low, the banks and they begin perform. Many of the banks continue to rely on government. Because when you go to the bank for take loan, the interest on the loan it is between 17 or 20, some side they pass nearly 30%. How you go take loan in a bank with that interest rate you able to pay? You're not able. But when the interest rates go down, I recall in 2014, we don't bring interest rates go down. I invite all the commercial banks around the table in finance. I say, so interest rates on domestic securities don't drop below 5%. Una your lending rates they around 20-something%. Una replicate what they happen at domestic securities market. They say, okay. The MDs then go, then consult, then come back. They say they go only come around 15%. I say, no, I want single digit. They say, not possible. Why? Because water not the run, now they buy with your own water. Electricity no go rely on, and now they run with your own generators. So because of all that in the day, we and government therefore understand, say, the lend they lend to the public, no go drop to a single digit, but it go drop around 15-16%. But the good news is, because interest rates on domestic securities begin drop, from then 27 to under 5%, they said then lending rates will be there around 19-20%, but don't drop to 17. But I still tell them say no under 17. Why? Mami Aisa too, except he able go na bank, he able take loan, and he able pay the interest on that loan, Mami Aisa too in business no go grow. So you as a government, therefore be very careful. Introduce deliberate strategies and policies where they will make Mami Aisa too able take loan, he do business, and able send him picking for go university. In my document where I published the last time, I said, if I get the opportunity for lead this country, I will deliberately establish a bank what they call National Women Bank. And I mean now. And we don't even begin start. If you go Kwenadugu and Falaba, we get more than 15 chiefdoms. Musa Musubanki they operate. Musubanki meant you call woman them, say na them 50, you take lump sum, you give them. And ask them, let them set their own interest rate. Honorable, 90% of the time, they pass 5%. Say, Dr. Marah, we're not able to pay 7%, don't make them 5%. We say, okay, 5%. You know the beauty of that? The default rate they low, then they will pay the interest. But what thing they don't know is the interest where they accrue, no, they can't to me, they go back to them. So after 1 year, we call them, I think now about 72 million old loans. It's okay, now this interest when I don't pay throughout this period. Now this money they go back to now. They say this na graduation. I say no, not to graduation. But na for una. Una act to una business money so that una go do well. If you set up a bank with deliberate preferential interest rates, and you make women then they access credit at rate where they below 7%, and the default rate low, trust me, then will become faithful to that scheme and poverty will reduce. What in that mean? It means to say, if that person loyal to the bank for a year or two, himself, he make he get shares na the bank. So if that woman get shares na that bank, as Rwanda they do, when they take one cow give the family, in this case we not get that all over the country. When give that family interest in that share na that bank, that family no go default anymore. They will go all out for let that bank grow. That is how you reduce poverty in your country. If I get opportunity at that time, you say. So I want to come to Colonel in question. And they broken down into two. The first one about elections. And now I pull na do wetin happen na party office. But I want to let you know say the leadership of the party not ready for tolerate nonsense this time.
Thank you.
Not to tolerate nonsense. That is down and out. It's not possible.
Thank you.
That's not possible this time. So that I'm a response. The other question really, I not be the expecter. Because honestly, I take this for be a forum, forget conversation on national development. That is why some people will say, Dr. Marah, they can't declare, I say no. I want to introduce something in the public discourse way good. Show what you can do, discuss the challenges, provide solutions, and then when I get conversations around that. But since you don't whet people their appetite, I will just talk small about and not to all. I will ask you, Colonel, what you go make you not see me as president for this country 2028? May I not see how? You know, I don't go one convention, I not get. I don't go to convention, I not get, but I not make badato. I stand by the party, and I stand by my big brother Samura, support him. And not only one, my brother and then where we all contribute, we all support our brother then. But that time then some man in your first term, may not be my second term. This time I make a number 3. You know, if you're not a party member, I want to let you know this. When you come for contribute to this party, I think I don't do me only. The party office na Kwenadugu, na Kabala, na the finest district party office. Deputy chairman Sidona, they go Kabala, by Ansane Semara, this one party office, you know, final, I say yes, sir. They say, I try to do something about her. Go buy the land, people take them, joke. We start for bill. Now where the thing don't go up, 9 people take them serious. But the good news is, plenty people contribute for log at that party office. Or not happy, we go down back na the south, na Tama, build another party office. Me, I wonder how person will show loyalty and how you become faithful to a party more than that. I don't contribute to the infrastructure of the party. Between me and Una, apart from the one and the all by-elections with me involved with, SLPP don't always attack me. But any side I attack, it will win. Not ever lost by-elections. Win all by-elections. When I've been the actors chairman at Gwenado. So apart from all of them thing and day, I don't always put myself forward when the party need me for South. Here I've been to Mani, I may lead the deliberation, the conversation for represent the party. Now the tripartite committee, now me co-chair. But what I do, they know to me one to one. Now me and my brother them. My brother Petito, my brother Richard Conte, my brother Boniface, Prince Wenodea, and all others. Now all contribute for do that. At the end of the day, we walk out. We go to the leadership. We walk out again the second time. We put a foot down. We say if election result no come out, no the go no side. I'm sure we all read that. At the end of the day, when we and government no agree, the international community say, well, we do una split. Let every party write a own report. What you wanna think about election results, and what you will do. The report will put. We make sure NAC vote on it. We make sure the leadership of NAC sign, including my big brother Samura Kama. We put all the reports together. We carry and go to State House, and wallahi, big brother Samura SSFC, he happy with the work we do. He commend we. Now that's making go to State House for even present the report. I think I don't serve the party. Don't try. If you look for somebody who will look after young people, well, may not be youth president. If you look for somebody who will look after students, then may not be national president of Kono Student Union. If you look for somebody who understand local governance, me don't work as deputy town clerk. In fact, Diana Konomani in that Nana be my mentor, including AJP Levy of Blessed Memory, the whole team, and they mentor me. You know, that is why when they serve as Minister of Finance, all local councils will tell you this. We increase the allowance from around 300 to more than 800,000 per month. We not stop there. Every transfer we need for go to councils, not ever delay. We make sure we pay them. So I understand what we need for do. If me be president, people they pay house rent too. The councils then get opportunity, then get capacity for do things on their own. They don't need for rely on central government always. Yes, we go share taxes, we go share resources, but councils go do their own. So I get that experience. You want international experience? Able or not left me again? Not true. Not true. Hello? Hello? You want international experience? We no go jump Marah again. I begin in New York. I work with Center for International Development. Then they take me in many regions in the world. I work in the New York State Senate. I work with the Public Authorities Control Board. All that particular unit, they're responsible for all capital projects in New York. You know, ever cross my mind say, Nalana the land for cancer of Sierra Leone as Chief of Staff. They track all projects. I come now Commonwealth Secretariat. I work with the Commonwealth for about 5 years as advisor on public expenditure management. Every state, all 54 countries in the Commonwealth, and they make themselves assessed. Let everybody know we say a day. I set up systems that the Commonwealth, not just for self-assess, but to set up Commonwealth public procurement network. I even set up a network for young auditors, as well as the one that will work in our budget bureau, across the Commonwealth. I introduced things that were innovative. It reached a point, President Nkrumah said, I want to serve me. And even when I serve as Minister of Finance, I have been in charge of the G7 Plus. Now, yeah, this very place, inside the main bowl, inside here, now they can hand over the chairmanship of the G7 Plus. 20 ministers of finance across the world say, Marana chairman, I served for 3 years. I serve as Minister of Foreign Affairs. I chair the Committee for Reform the United Nations Security Council. This international experience you want of me again. I serve as chair of Central Bank Governors. This international experience you could require of me again. So, I do me lily. So when it comes to governance, so I can tell people say, before red car was shall be so, not so. You know today, even the SLPP see the essence for keep somebody in a state house where they manage, oversee, coordinate, and work with ministers for ensure that the government agenda work. President Nkrumah call and chief of staff. Now they start with mentorship. So today I will tell you about 862 projects. If you take your phone right now, go Google, you type transparency, say, just go down, you will see something on our Commonwealth, you check out. We set up a system through which we will track all 862 projects across the country. Every NGO game portal, members of parliament they are within there where they present the budget, and they make MPs they track all NGO projects across the board. You know, we even set up, we resuscitate the Civil Service College. I want to tell you, say, apart from State House, one of the ministries we get headed past all sides, now being Minister of Finance. I just shout to now the stories, the wonderful things we do under President Nkrumah in reign. I shout to now the institutions that will be set up, we don't die today. So if you make me president tomorrow, I will resuscitate them. Few things will happen. When I think to say na magic, not so magic. Na strategy, commitment, and teamwork. You think what's in the happen in Rwanda or no go down the Duam? Impossible. It comes with dedication. It comes with strategy, commitment, and teamwork. You want no go down. You need people there for work with you. So the economy is in a very bad shape. Not so. If you make me minister, if you make me head of state, trust me, the Minister of Finance will get problem. And not go to sleep. He go sleep. My chief of staff, he go sleep. My governor of Central Bank, he go sleep. The foreign minister go sleep. Hey, why go left that package now? No. So, what I say is, Lord, take sentiment out of this. And Atinapia as a humble person, these are things we are not left for talk about. But when you ask, I will talk about them. I just hope to say, everybody in the APC, whether they are or not, we looked at Kaifala Marah in profile and look at how he worked, how he served this public, what he do when they in governance, and how he conduct himself, how he carry himself. I think to say, he will turn around and say, I can trust Dr. Marah with the presidency. Because when I trust her with the presidency, finally, I want to say this. So, I want you to sit down and listen.
Okay, now we take the seats.
Make a response.
Sit down, now take the seats, please, please.
Questions.
take his seat, please. We can line up now. We can end the program now. Hello? Hello?
I want prayer. Give me just few minutes to the launch song. So go back to the normal schedule. I know say plenty of you want for go now, but why not listen to me? My brother Abubakar Darami asked a very, very salient question, and I want for response, please. Mr. Darami, to you and to anybody who they are in ABC, I want to say a few things. If being an APC candidate for the presidency, we resolve the come up before neck. And we do an apenadubu. I am sure when I remember during the by-election for Chairman Tete, by 2 in the morning, if I not been 2 o'clock, now 1:40 something in the morning, we show the statistics and the number for say we don't win. And when we go to the following, then that result to get. I call it efficiency. You get for be efficient. Then our number 2, I just talk about the present. Me personally, the pull over me eye. It's not possible. It's not possible. If anybody attend, then they will all get for go wait, let other people then come in and see what they go do. It's not possible. You know this country don't suffer for so long. The wrong for continue for do the wrong things. Not okay, Kaifala Marah. It don't cross mind with me being the candidate. And I say that clear for everybody. Not okay, Kaifala Marah. I don't tolerate that. And I tell you this. I invite you for join me team for 2 weeks on elections preparedness. If you know, please left. If you please stay. I'll throw that challenge to everybody. But I want to tell you, say, if we win, we will get the result. We will get them. Number 2, Manti Jawara. We get a lot of work for doing our customs. I've been there as Minister of Finance. I've been to visit customs every Thursday. They tell me big brother Logus Kuruman, I've been Minister of Transport. Now me and him in the go now port every Thursday. And I get reasons why I've been the goodie. All the systems who they set up now customs I know. Everything where they happen now customs right now I know. And trust me, we'll clean them up. I give you an example. When I serve as Minister of Finance, President Nkrumah bring in the then DFID, Department for International Development, under UK. They come to do a study at the customs, for change custom, for turn upside down, for turn around, for improved revenue, for increased government earnings. We call it revenue for prosperity. The documents still in Amiana. Well, I get the opportunity to turn around. But what you go make businesses thrive? Not to high tax. If we reduce the tax below Guinea, as well as Ghana, the neighboring countries and Liberia and all others around, the volume of containers where they can at this country is higher than the others. Anybody where they are Komobo, I will just mean a practical examples at the game. Then get one lady we get a restaurant and bar na Bo. They call them Fasasi. If you go Bo, you go to area about them. Fasasi, they get more people in a nightclub, they get more people where they go to the restaurant than any other one na Bo. You know why? Because waiting others go charge 50 loans and 35 loans. Same quality. But wetin dey make it dey do more business na because the number of people wey dey visit the restaurant is so high that e dey end up for make profit. Now if you go for buy drinks, e dey buy more drinks than the other restaurants. If you dey go for supply, e dey get more than the others. So when you lower the price, the volume of sales dey increase. And by the way, we dey turn the port into one of the most efficient ports. The port expansion project where President Nkrumah embarked upon, now one we will do. We don't need another airport to them in the do. The new airports now mama be enough. You don't need for can do another thing. What you need for now for expand the scope of the port we get. And I will tell you this. We get the second deepest port in the world, natural port in the world. So what you go do when you expand that port, and we don't start. It's a company they call TIFA. And that's what we do again. When you expand with ports, they lower the cost of import. What you do, the volume of containers will grow so that we will create jobs. Plenty companies go there. At the end of the day, it's a little economic boom. If you continue the way with this, we never move to anywhere. I know everything will happen at the port. The radar they on the port, but this not the night for discuss them. But I want to assure you, so when we come, we will clean up the port, we will ensure that we expand them, and ensure that at the end of the day, we become one of the transshipment centers in this part of the world. We will work, not to magic. Chief Jibao about corruption. What they present now, when I really talk about corruption, I talk butter, I not talk butter, no so. I talk about corruption, I not talk about corruption, no so. Something that they will not talk and people know. By being president, no man knows say corruption, no doctor. Corruption they go down, sir. I mean, you don't know me. I don't want people across institutions that know me. So corruption, we try for make a history. I give you that assurance. My brother, persons, the first time voters, me go integrate young people in decision making. And plenty ways they do that. You know, when you're not head of state, you begin visit primary schools, you begin visit secondary schools, and you as head of state, they go to the schools, so they do school feeding. You and the begin they eat that food. Wallahi, all the institutions in the country where they provide school feeding, they do well. They go stop for cut corners. Because they know say the president will carry anything for garments. So now they will start. And you go to the school and ask the picking them, what did they happen in the country? What did the picking them they tell you? Nobody knows they will tell you that day. Parliament will tell you, cabinet will tell you, but they will tell you as things stay. They know the means they work, they know the press how did they not so they tell you. So that's so we go about that. I don't like this so when they make that they begin boss music then I do. Something that they want to talk about, now they make that they talk about that. And we manifesto and how it will benefit every Sierra Leonean. You know, I want to say this. We get everything, but we don't get nothing. And population are just around 10 million. So what you go serve as head of state, if you like grand things, you don't do the right things. Who say you do? I think I don't try to do the service to God and country over period for demonstrate to every Sierra Leonean and say you can trust me with responsibility. So I want to assure and say, if I'm head of state, the benefits will be to everybody. give me what? It not going to be empty manifesto. In fact, everything I ever said at the House of Parliament as Minister of Finance, we rolled the all out. Persons of disability. You know, when I make a talk things, I know I let in another man and plan. When I make a boss things and I do. But I will say this. In my cabinet, I get person with disability sitting. And they will be charged with the responsibility to ensure that we get a total data of persons with disability. And they take them beyond that. I also want to know the prevalence of disability in our economy. How many pikin them per year they born with disability? When you get that statistics, then they help you for plan better. You know, recently, if you recall, when I go where I go, I've been getting lunch with people with disability. I want to tell you something. And when I go district alone, you get 17 disability groups. And when they talk of disability, the disadvantages of people in face, we just need to say, now let the man ask the question, I no more than no. I don't just be blind. You get people in our country where they call little people, no so. What about them? You get people that when they're albino, then they chase them all around, they therefore come together for protect themselves and they I will go on and on and on. So they consolidate all them at the end of the day, you want to know not just the category of disabilities we get in the economy, but what you will do for each of them categories for make them live a life. That will be the responsibility of that person who will sit in the cabinet. I hope I answer your question. Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Marah. Ladies and gentlemen, we don't listen to Dr. Marah this evening. We all don't learn lessons. We don't demonstrate to be safe. What did I say about a very, very correct thing? So we go now ask Dr. Marah to say goodbye to me this evening by way of wrapping up so that we have to go back. But we all know that we listen this evening. I remember with you, Dr. Anakuruma tell me when we sit on lunch one day, the term Kaifala Marah just told me Chief Minister. That was the first time we opened that kind of office in Leone. So we didn't go lunch and ask her. I said, how this with you, Chief Minister? You know, Anakuruma summarized him. He said he's a man of ideas, he's a dedicated man. Wow. So that was how I learned about Kaifala Marah. That was how Anakuruma held him in high esteem. So I will ask you now for making round up.
Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to learn and listen to me. But before I wrap up, I want to say thank you to all. Thank you to everyone who come up from every district we come here tonight. And thank you to the organizers of this event, the one that will fix the hall, the one that will with the media, the one that will organize everything we make all there this evening, including the sponsors of this particular project, as well as everybody will come up from every media house. I want to say thank you to them. I want to tell the leadership of the party thank you for gracing this occasion. Some members of the opposition, some members of the governing party will come, the members of parliament, the former members of parliament, the woman them, the strong woman that will get on party camp, the district chairman and the regional chairman and the constituency chairman and the woman them from all over, my friends them from the disability wing. I want to tell you all thank you for graces. I want to tell my brother Dr. S.S. Marah, the man who will award a second PhD tonight, and the chief moderator said talk about him. I want to tell you thank you for that wonderful introduction. I wish I would get the tape or video of that introduction and keep up. Thank you so much. So, my brothers and we come up when I do Falaba, we come up Bo, we come up Kenima, we come up Moyamba, we come up Kaila, we come up Otloko, we come up Karine, we come up Kambia, we come up Moyamba, we come up Pujan, we come up Bok, we come up Rural, we come up West, we come up East.
Take food for me,
So now all I want to say thank you.
Senior man.
Finally,
Take food for me, man.
I want to say thank you to Pa Adikago. Thank you so much for a wonderful moderation. My final word to Nana this. I want them to listen to me. For that we contribute before, now look beyond Kaifala Marah with Nigeria. Let me ask yourself a critical question. What's in our level of preparedness? How will we contribute before? As long as they don't be stuff, I think it don't become difficult. It don't become difficult for them people to listen. So I want to follow that trend and say, please. And this is what the APC now they talk finally. In making your decision. When I remember me, the election was easy for me. When I go Falaba, when I swing state, they don't go swing, they go be solid. But not go be solid. When I go be solid, the young people go be solid. And we'll get assurances that when we come to governance, we will move the country go before. I want to tell you that thank you. Thank you to all for being here this evening. I salute you all. God bless you all. Good evening.
Thank you very much.